In today's video, we're going to take a look at some of the weirder Buck Rogers related items that were released around the time that Buck Rogers was on the TV in the 1980s Gilles Gerard version of the show. First up, we have the Buck Rogers official utility belt, produced in 1979 by Remco. I would class this as a rack toy, so a very cheap low-end toy that came with a few sort of cheapish items. The items you got included in here were a belt, a watch, but it's not really a watch, it's just a sticker on a bracelet, and a Buck Rogers gun. This is actually not too bad, because it does actually look like a Buck Rogers gun, although possibly a little bit more like a Star Trek phaser, but it's not a bad gun. And then a cheap paper mask. This wouldn't have cost a great deal at the time, and is a real sort of just a cheap pocket money type toy. On the back of it, it has some things for you to do and play. This red area here you could decode using these special glasses that are inside the box. Not the most amazing toy, but a box like this, it does look pretty cool. Next up, we have a selection of puzzles. This puzzle here on the right is a 200-piece puzzle, and it has a really nice picture from the Buck Rogers series. A pretty good illustration, lots of detail to it. This is only a 200-piece puzzle, so wouldn't have taken particularly long. Made by Arrow Puzzles. Still quite a nice item though, and especially the artwork on it makes it well worth collecting. Next, we have two frame tray puzzles. Now, these were made by Whitman and are designed for a very young age of sort of Buck Rogers fan, if such a thing exists. They are made out of quite thick card and only have sort of 9 or 10 pieces, so should be pretty easy to do. The illustrations are very childlike as well, which is one of the reasons I picked them up, because they're such a sort of cute design to them. Wilma sitting in the spaceship there looks almost sort of more like a 1950s sort of starlet, and Tweaky on this one is pretty cool as well. So there's some nice items to collect. In front here now we have two different space communicators. This one on the right on the card was made by Fleetwood, and is again a rack toy. It's a very cheaply made piece of plastic. Comes with a sort of Morse code thing here, and all the toy does is make a clicking noise. You can actually click it through the plastic. So it's just a way of you learning sort of Morse code, and it's very cheaply branded to the sort of Buck Rogers universe with a symbol there on the front of it. Otherwise there's no real indication that this is anything to do with Buck Rogers. Here we have another set of more expensive space communicators produced by Corgi. These are actually electronic. There's a cable joining two handsets. The handsets keep falling out in this box, but you can just about see them there. And you could talk from one handset to the other without any batteries, just using sort of the cable in between. But if you wanted to make a beeping noise, you had to put a battery inside each of them. They're quite a nice toy. Again, not really particularly Buck Rogers related. They do have a sticker on the back of them that says Buck Rogers, but otherwise these could be for any toy, and now are just a sort of a cheap bit of branding on Corgi's part. This is probably one of the weirder items in my collection. It's a Buck Rogers lampshade in a kit form. It's supposed to fold out and make a lampshade out of petals, as you can see here in the corner. But it's Buck Rogers branded. A bit of a strange thing to have made, and a bit of a strange thing to still be able to find. I picked this up at a toy fair about 10 years ago, and I only paid a £5 for it, and I've still yet to make it, because it's not the sort of thing you'd actually want in your house. But as you can see, it's all Buck Rogers branded, and it even comes with a free poster, so it's a sort of double bonus there. Poster and lampshade all in one. This was produced by Scanlight in 1979. And here we have another strange thing, which is a child's Playsuit produced by the company Cheryl. This is a pretty big box, so you can't really see it, although the only branding in it is a sort of printed sheet behind a clear plastic sheet there on the front, and it also says Buck Rogers on the bottom. The Playsuit itself is actually very disappointing once you get inside. It's just a grey outfit with Buck Rogers printed on the front, as you can see here, and some other sort of minor bits of branding on a belt. Otherwise the trousers are all grey, and this jacket doesn't really look like anything like Buck Rogers did in the show. So it's just a sort of cheaply branded suit for children to wear, I guess, for Halloween or things like that. And the last couple of items in my collection are not complete, which is a shame. I've got some Viewmasters here, which are scenes from Buck Rogers. These are pretty nice, actually. Viewmasters were always a good thing to collect. Getting them in the packet seems to be a little bit harder, but you can find them loose fairly often. These show scenes from the pilot episode, so it's just the sort of, really these days would be classed as a TV movie, but they're pretty nice. You also used to be able to get Buck Rogers tin lunchbox, and inside the lunchbox you'd have a thermos flask. I don't have the lunchbox yet, but I've already managed to pick up a few different coloured versions of the thermos flask. These came in multiple colours, so you're likely to see them in many more colours than the orange and black ones that I have here. There seem to be quite a lot of strange Buck Rogers items out there if you want to look for them. So far this is all I've picked up, and I'm sure I'll pick up many more in the future. Anyway, thanks for watching.